Alex here with a legal nuts and bolts video on opt-out movements. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this topic. I tried to do a previous version of this video and it got into all sorts of different things. It got too long. The point I wanted to make with this video is there are two sort of approaches to a lot of the problems, at least when it comes to people who are in the court system. One of them is the legal approach, which is the one that you have the most control over because you're in court. So you can put forth some arguments and request relief, and the judge can give you or deny you the relief you're requesting based on what you're asking for in court right now. The other one is the political or policy approach, and that is the approach where you have almost no power at all as a little person. You have to somehow get hundreds of thousands or millions of people to agree with you to solve the problem through politics or changing policy. And that's, of course, slow. And you have a lot of solutions out there on the internet right now that don't really fit into either of these two categories. They kind of lean towards the legal category because they sometimes try to use statutes, rules, and case law in a way that doesn't apply or in a way that's taken out of context. But these opt-out movements that encourage you to just say no, I'm not going to take part in it. And they don't understand that the system will force you to comply either by fining you or throwing you in a jail cell. And I have this come to this disappointing realization that a lot of these people aren't even going through like the process. They're not even going through child support and custody, and they're very passionate about what they say, and their advice risks leading people not only into peril as far as their own cases, but they also discourage people from doing what it's actually going to take to cause some of these changes to take effect, which is rather than getting people to sort of band together, educate others, and slowly over time try to change the minds of those that are in power so that they can change the rules. Rather than do all of that, they're telling people, no, if you do A, B, and C, then you can just opt out. And so there isn't any of this sort of push towards joining a community and educating others. There's this push towards isolating yourself and refusing to comply and saying basically, to heck with all of you, I'm not going to do any of this, bye. And it's weird because it's this weird sense that if they can get enough people to opt out, they'll change the system, but they really won't. If they got enough people to opt out and they were successful, the powers that be, the people that they complain about as being the ones behind all of these horrible things, they would just change the rules. So I mean, if you actually successfully pointed out your rules have holes in them and we can go through these holes and escape, I don't know, you could use child support, you can escape the child support obligation. Okay, they wouldn't say, oh no, you beat us, we've lost. They would say, oh okay, well, let's close the hole. That's what they would do. So really, all of that energy that goes into trying to get people to opt out, it would be much better spent in trying to get people to accept the system the way it is. And by accepting the way it is, then they can start moving towards trying to solve the problems, the perceived problems. And I hope that this video, usually I try to do legal videos, I try to avoid policy videos, but it's been something that's been on my mind for a long time because the bigger our Nevada judges gets, the more I realize that there is power in community and in forming groups and relating to people and educating people. That's where you can actually affect change. There isn't any of that in this other idea of trying to tell people that there's loopholes and violations to this particular, I guess, to the Constitution. I have a whole video on the Constitution. If people knew how limited the Constitution was, I don't think they would be so excited to cite it in court. And it's tough to tell people that because the Constitution is a very powerful thing and that it does affect a whole lot of what goes on in this country. But there's a lot of people who think that it does everything, and it doesn't do everything. It does have a very specific list of things that the government can and can't do, but it doesn't impact every single case. And a lot of people pretend that it kind of does. And so there's a lot of people who put a little bit too much faith into something that is considerably, it's a powerful piece of paper. It does have a lot of power, but it's not the end all be all. And And you have a lot of these groups that cite to the Constitution as to why they don't have to comply, or why there's loopholes as to what's been violated here and this and that. And so just opt out, just refuse, this. I don't want to get into all that, or the video is going to get long again. I hope that this video made sense to people, and I hope that this video imparts sort of my realizations onto my viewers, in that this is not something that can be fixed very quickly. And perhaps that's what seduces people into that other idea, the other approach, the opt-out approach. Is it's just a quick fix. And it's a fix that doesn't require you having to network and get out into society and educate others. It's a fix that allows you to sort of just keep the blinders on, refuse to talk to anyone, and just opt out. I mean, that's the title of the video. So the truth is, fixing a lot of this stuff, if it is to be fixed, requires a lot of work and takes a long time. It's not something that you can just sort of snap your fingers and sort of like a mad scientist look at all of these different statutes, rules, cases, constitution, and find some kind of secret loophole that nobody knows about, and aha, now you're free from it. It's not really the approach that's going to work, for all the reasons mentioned earlier in the video. It's easy to understand why people like that, because it's something you can sort of do on your own, that you can sort of claim relief from. I guess we can use the example child support right now, but honestly, it's all it does is just encourage people to do what they've, for the most part, already been doing. Most of the people who go into court, take child support, for example, they're blindsided. They don't know how it works. They didn't know how much it was going to be. They didn't know how long it was going to last. And they're blindsided by the process, the way the attorneys approach the problem, the way the judges deal with the cases. They're blindsided by all this because they haven't been involved. They haven't been integrated into society. They've just kind of just stuck to their own lives. And now all of a sudden, bam, the government hits them like a ton of bricks. And so they can, you can do one of two things. You can just go back to what you were doing before, which was just to not be involved at all, and continue to not be involved by claiming you're just going to opt out, and not take part in the system, a system that is very capable at forcing you to do what you don't want to do. If they put their mind to it, they can do that. Or you can take the other approach, which is to not do what you were doing before, and which is to try to integrate into society and become more of a part of the decision-making process. And it sucks. It's slow. You're just a teeny tiny person, and it takes so much work, but that's what works. And one of the nice things about it is you don't have to put all the work in just a single day or a single week or a single month. You can do a teeny tiny bit every day, and over the course of years actually maybe have an impact on some of the stuff out there that frustrates people. I hope this video is helpful to some of my viewers. Definitely post something down in the comments below if you came to any epiphanies, because I'm coming to all these different epiphanies all the time now. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time.